YouTube, and welcome once again to the Miniature Construction Company. Now, why are we looking at a half-built C14? Well, this is sort of part 2 to the proportional steering replacement video that I did before. If you have a look at that one, you'll know that well, basically converting it from the ready to run steering servo to a proportional one. So if you're at all interested in that, you can flick back and give it a watch. But in this video we are going to be finishing the job off and just fitting the little 30 amp ESC and turbo racing receiver unit, fitting that somewhere on the truck. And I thought, while I've got it apart, I would fit a front and rear light kit, and these light kits are nice and easy to fit because they come with a little plug that fits neatly in the auxiliary or the third channel on the receiver. So we'll jump straight in and remove the back bodywork and put the lighting kit on first. Right, the bed is off, and what I'd like to do is to put the rear lights in the place where they've painted the fake lights onto the bed. So it's here. Now I have used the soldering iron to, if you can make that out there, I've just cut 2 slots in to this bit of bracing, because it's directly in the way of drilling out a hole to accept the little ferrule that comes with the light kit. You basically bolt these on and then push the LED into them. So I'll remove that bit of plastic there to hopefully allow me access to push the LED in from the back. So all I've got to do now is get the Dremel, I think, and open out these holes to the same diameter of these little LED holders. So let's do that now. Okay, so what I've done is use the little deburring tool on the end of the Dremel. Just make a hole where the lights, I think the lights should be or want to be, and literally that little ferrule sort of screws or pushes in, and then you just sort of tighten the nut up on the back, and luckily we can then sneak the LEDs in, and they're just on like a little rubber stopper, so they sort of fit in that way. Interestingly, while I'm here, I don't know if you can see that little lump in the wire, that's actually a resistor to restrict the flow of electricity into the LED to stop it from burning out. If you don't use those, if you just put LEDs straight onto a circuit, unless they've got some sort of protection like that, they will instantly burn out, or they'll take as much power as you can give them, and it won't do them any good at all. So if you're wondering, that's what that little bump is there. It's like a little resistor. So I shall repeat the process for that side, and screw the little ferrule in, push the LED in, and then put the bed back on, and then we'll move forward to fit the rest of the electronics. Now then, that's both the rear lights fitted. I've taken the wiring underneath the frame rail at the back and just sort of down the one side of the motor casing, and as you can see, they don't protrude anywhere near any of the moving suspension components, so that's what you want to do, really. Make sure they're out of the way of everything else. They're just routed down the side of the motor and come out underneath. So we're moving forward. I'm going to try and find a space for the ESC and the receiver. Now put the top tray back on and ran the 2 front LEDs either side of it underneath. So now we've got to try and find a space for these guys. I'm thinking I might utilise the tray, put the ESC on top of the tray. I've cut a small groove for the rest of the LED wires and a small groove here to take the on-off power cable and the servo plug underneath. And I've just been having a quick look at the body. I'm not sure whether I'll be able to sort of stick the receiver, I don't know if you can see that, stick the receiver there because there's a bit of a gap. And I'm thinking maybe if I cut the remainder of that lip off the back of the this top piece, the plate, cut the back of that off, I should have enough room for when the receiver is underneath the bodywork for all the cables to exit without fouling anything. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I think the ESC is going to go on there. I'm going to try the receiver up there, and all this hopefully I should be able to secrete it on top of this, this cover here, this plate. So let's try that, see how we get on. So after a lot of trial and error, mainly error, I've plumped for putting, if you can see that there, putting the receiver just underneath the dashboard in the cab. Obviously the batteries where they were. I won't take it off, but underneath the tray is the ESC. I've had to cut quite a large hole out of the tray in order to get the wires from the receiver to fit. All the others, all of the wiring sort of enters at the side or just underneath the tray through the front. So all we're left with is the two headlamp LEDs to put in. Now that hopefully they should sort of sit either side, possibly underneath the tray as well if I can fit them in. And they're just a push fit into the little grill, so they're not too much of an issue, hopefully. So I'll put everything back together. It all fits now. Before, when the ESC was on top of the tray, I was unable to shut the bodywork because it was just, there isn't as much room as I thought there was. So I've had to mount it sort of underneath because it's only thin and it does fit, so that's not too much of a problem. So I'll put it all back together and then see if we can't fit these little headlamps in as well. Okay, it's all back together. It's got some super bright lights now, some wicked looking tail lights, fully proportional steering, ESC, and a new receiver. I'm going to share a little pro tip here with you now. If when you replace the electronics on your truck, when you reassemble it, you find that the steering is the opposite way around to the way you normally have it, instead of pulling everything back off to try and find a problem, perhaps you hadn't wired it up correctly, and pulling out all the various bits and pieces, the wiring that you'd painstakingly routed over several hours, and then not being able to find any issues with that, you then start pulling your other truck apart, again swapping bits over, trying to find a problem, see if there's any commonality between the two. Instead of doing all that, why not just reverse the controls on your transmitter? Okay, there you go. Okay, now that we've upgraded all the electronics on it, I think it's only right that we take it outside and try it around the little track. I'm hoping to get a bit more. It's only got a 180 motor in it still. It's only the stock 180 motor. But I'm hoping that there will be a little bit more performance, and we should hopefully have a little bit more control off-road. So I'll shut up and we'll take it outside. Now these trucks have a lot of dissenters and a lot of negativity surrounding them. Cheap Chinese rubbish, blah 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 blah. I don't know of another brand or brands where you can start off with a reasonable product, and with a little time, effort and a modest amount of money you can absolutely transform it. It's you can have a visible, marked improvement in the all-round capabilities of the machine. And pound for pound, I don't know any other sort of RC brand where you can get that sort of an increase in performance with such a small amount of tinkering. The upgrade of the electronics just makes the truck a much better all-round package. There's more power, there's better control, drivability. It's just an all-round improved package. They're a lot of fun. They really are a lot of fun. If you haven't already got one and you're thinking about getting one of these little C14s, I wish I'd have bought one ages ago. It really is loads of fun. Like I say, with a modest investment, you can get something that starts to become very capable off-road. And I'd recommend anybody trying some of these little mods. Like I say, if you get the stuff from places like Banggood or AliExpress, you can pick them up quite reasonable money, and like I say, they do make a massive difference. It really is. There is a marked improvement, and it's quite satisfying to see and know that you've made such a difference to something. You've improved something no end. If you're interested, all the products used in the build of my C14 here, they will be listed in the description below. As ever, if you found this video of some use and interest, please give it a thumbs up, and to see more content like this in the future, click that subscribe button. I will